All right, family. So, as mentioned, a lot of people are out there showing people how to get the bag when it comes to having good credit, which is great, and I love to see. I want to come a little different, with today's call on YouTube. I want to show you guys how to get the bag with having bad credit. So, we're streaming here on OBS right now, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. Drop a 3 in the chat if everybody can see my screen perfect. If you guys can see everything on the screen perfect, let me know here on YouTube if you guys are able to see the screen before we get into it. Just drop a 3 for me, family. Drop a 3 and we're going to get right into it. I'm going to show you guys on today's live 3 different consumer law codes that we can go out and exercise to get the bag with consumer law. I'm not going to just give you guys these consumer law codes. I'm going to show you guys exactly how, step by step, to go out and how to exercise these rights, how to exercise these codes that I'm giving you guys. Right, I don't teach UCC codes here in 2023, going into the new year of 2024. We are going to start teaching some uniform commercial codes as well too. So that is UCC codes. But in terms of what we've been going over in the year of 2023 is all Title 15. Not just Chapter 41. We've dove into Chapter 94 as well too, but mainly Chapter 41 and Chapter 94, which within Chapter 94, that's the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act, and that it goes towards financial institutions. So specifically speaking, today is only right that we start at the beginning of Chapter 41, which is truth in lending. Right, and the name within itself says everything. Someone was not being truthful while lending. So in 1968, Congress passed the Truth in Lending Act, which that broke down within the congressional findings how these corporations were misusing our credit. Then we get into right away holding these corporations criminally liable for willfully and knowingly violating. Right, this is the verbatim definition of 15 U.S.C. 1611, criminal liability for willful and knowing violation. Right, and this is them knowingly and willingly violating our rights. Right, so it states whoever willfully and knowingly, number one, gives false or inaccurate information. What I want every single one of you guys to do is I want you guys to go look up the definition of accuracy in a Black's Law dictionary. See, once we understand the definition of accuracy, we'll understand the power that we have. And what I want you guys to understand here on YouTube, anything that is not underlined, right, we are the ones whom is going to define it. And we got to know the proper definitions of this, and we got to stop using the Webster's and Merriam dictionary, because that's going to keep us in, the rat race, in the system that they have created to keep us enslaved. Right? There's not physical, chains around our arms and or our legs, but a lot of you guys have, these chains around your guys' mind, which this is the highest form of enslavement. Right? Once they can control your mind, they can control exactly what you do, because thoughts are things and thoughts create our reality. Right? Go listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza if you guys are looking to, reprogram yourself. Go listen to some Bob Proctor if you're looking to learn how to reprogram yourself, and understand that we have been programmed, but we must unlearn to relearn, to see things from a different perspective and point of view, and to truly free ourselves. Right? So the Merriam's dictionary, the Webster dictionary, there's a reason why it's in the schooling system. There's a reason why they teach us these definitions. But when it comes to us being in that courtroom, these are completely different, terms that we've been exercising, and definitions for these terms in which we've been exercising and using throughout our lifetime is completely different, from what we've been taught. So the word accuracy, right? The word accuracy actually means the measure of value. So you as a consumer define what's valuable to you and what's not valuable to you. If you guys see things on your consumer report that is not of value to, what's being reported, that is inaccurate. So right away it lets us know whoever willfully and knowingly gives false, you guys can determine what is false or inaccurate. Anytime you see the word or I believe is probably the most powerful word in the English language. Because the word or, and this is just, this is just my own, preference upon, or not preference, but my own, what's the word? um, what's the word? Right, it's not factual that the word or is the most powerful. This is my own, taking of it as I've gone through and studied many different words from Black's Law. Because, and the reason and why I believe the word or is the most powerful word in the English language is because the word or gives us the power to choose. So if I'm sitting down and I'm shopping, or if I'm shopping, or if I was going to say, if I'm sitting down and I'm eating at a restaurant and, I'm able to choose this or this, right? That's giving me the ability to choose from what I'm looking to eat. And being plant-based, I need options, right? I need this or this. It can't just be all meat. It can't just be all these, things that don't align with what I'm looking, to put into my temple. And so anytime you guys see the word or, that is Congress letting you know that you have the power to choose. Anytime you have the power to choose, once again, for me, that is freedom. So I'm shopping, I'm able to choose this or this, right? That is freedom, right? If you guys have an abundance of wealth, I can get this car or I can get this car. I can get this house or I can get this house. Right? Anytime you see the word or hear the word or, understand that that is freedom, right? That's options. And so Congress lets us know whoever willfully and knowingly gives false or inaccurate information or fails to provide information. So if they fail to provide information which he is required to disclose under the provision of this subchapter or any regulation issued thereunder. So the subchapter would be truth in lending. So they have certain disclosures within truth in lending that they don't disclose oftentimes to you guys. A lot of people have been seeing on the internet the right of rescission. The right of rescission is, yes, a very powerful code if you understand the true meaning of the right of rescission and the proper steps and procedure which these corporations are supposed to take, in which they do not disclose to you guys for a certain reason. If I were to disclose to you guys that, you guys can rescind this contract that you guys are signing right now, how many of you guys would go out and rescind that contract? Just about every single every single person out there. That's why right now, if we go to the CFPB newsroom, we can see that Toyota Financial is getting sued for over $6 million, for withholding certain disclosures, for deceiving consumers, for misleading consumers, right? So these big corporations, these dealerships are getting hit with big lawsuits for certain things that they're not disclosing to you guys within truth in lending, which they are obligated to doing such. Bank of America to pay $12 million for reporting false mortgage data. All right, Toyota Motor Credit to pay $60 million for illegal lending and credit reporting misconduct. So everything that we're teaching here within truth in lending, everything that we're teaching here within the FCRA, within the FDCPA is all applicable to why these corporations are being sued tens of millions of dollars. And what if I were to tell you guys that these tens of millions of dollars that the CFPB is suing these corporations for is our remedy? These are our reparations. But if you don't know how to go out and exercise it, and if you're just working with a credit repair company that is going to help you, yes, get it deleted, but not finish the job, the CFPB is going to collect on the behalf of you guys. We as consumers have the power to not only remove things from our account, but understand that deletion is admission. Deletion is admission to these corporations violating your guys' rights. So therefore, if they're admitting to violating our rights, now we can hold them civilly liable up to $1,000 per violation. Or if it's within truth in lending, I got something for you guys here at the end of the call, so make sure you guys stay tuned in. But back to 15 USC 1611. Whoever, I'm going to briefly read through this one more time, and this is the first law that I want you guys to master, understand, go through all of the truth in lending so that you guys can see if they're getting false or inaccurate information. We just talked about false reporting or, from Bank of America, and they're getting sued $12 million for false reporting, or if they fail to provide. So whoever willfully and knowingly gives false or inaccurate information or fails to provide information which he is required to disclose under this provision of this subchapter or any regulation issued thereunder, right? So they can then be held criminally liable for willfully and knowing violation. All right, so this is 15 USC 1611, and this is the first, code for remedy within truth and lending in all of Title 15, Chapter 41. So before even getting into civil liability, we're already talking about criminal liability. Then number 3 under 1611 talks about otherwise fails to comply with any requirements, right? Requirements imposed under the subchapter shall be fined not more than $5,000. So if they fail to comply with any requirement, they can be fined $5,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. So we're not only talking about them owing us a bag, but now we're talking about them being able to be imprisoned for 1 year or both for them giving false or inaccurate information or failing to provide information which they are required to disclose under this provision. Right, so this is 15 USC 1611 family, and what I want to lead you guys into next is the next, part of remedy, the next code of remedy within truth and lending. So yes, we got 15 USC 1611. Now we're gonna hop into 1640, which this is also within truth and lending. This does come right after the right of rescission, but this one right here is going to open you guys up to a lot in terms of. And before you guys look into this one, so this is the civil liability section within truth and lending. So first, in truth and lending, they talk about criminal liability. Following that, we talk about civil liability. Understand that truth and lending, as I mentioned on yesterday's call, does not stop after 15 USC 1635. Right? There's so much more to truth and lending outside of 15 USC 1635. We also got 1666, 1662, etc., the Billing Heirs Act.